Bing. Bing. Something is very wrong in the world. No one's seen a cloud in 200 years. The world has been thrown into chaos. The only clouds that are left in the world are all trapped within a single, small circle of mountains by an enormous storm that is constantly raining them down and reabsorbing them to maintain its immeasurable power. This is Storm Basin, Episode 2.
So, what's the plan, bud?
We are not close enough for you to use nicknames just yet.
But I'm already the captain, and it's a bit mean to call you subordinate, so what else can I use?
My name.
Oh, yeah! I just realized I never asked your name.
Wondered how long it should take you to realize that.
Okay, so what is it?
Oh yes, it's Fret.
Alright, and Fret?
Why the witch? Well, the witch owns a cauldron, correct?
Yes!
Don't just mindlessly agree to whatever people tell you.
Okay, then she doesn't have a cauldron.
I recognize my mistake here, but she does have a cauldron.
Huh?
And flesh creatures aren't affected by the storm's vortex.
So we get the witch to fight the storm?
Not quite. Her gifts lie in her strange powers to mutate liquids into potions. But in every storm, once you reach the eye of the storm...
You poke it!
No, it's just a technical term for the part of the storm where the winds aren't as strong. It would be far too impractical to actually try to poke the storm in the eye. In the windless zone of the storm, the witch can let you out of her cauldron and...
Oh! She'll carry me through the winds in her cauldron and then let me out and I can fight it!
Finally. Won't be easy once you're there. We don't actually understand how strong the storm is, and just because you're where it has the worst reach does not mean you can win. But this is about the only way you'll have a fighting chance. But what if it fails? I'd rather avoid it, but if we're all out of luck and need a plan, I think Midas is our only option.
So what's with first areas in video games, am I right? Why are they all just grasslands? And why is mine no different?
Yeah, the first area of Storm Basin, even though I haven't drawn it, I think you kind of get the idea with these pictures. It's just a big mountain, a very big muddy grasslands with not as much grass, because, I don't know, it's been raining for 200 years straight. Not much grass can grow in that, I'd imagine. But with all the technical stuff aside, we get to the fun part. Upgrades! Unfortunately, the upgrades in this area are very limited because it's just the first area. And also, I didn't really have many ideas. It's just a basic grassland. Give me a break. I don't know. There are three upgrades you can get in this area, though. Starting off with wine, or alcohol butterfly. When absorbing alcohol vapor, I don't know if that's a real thing, but who fucking cares? My game, my rules, it's a liquid, therefore it can be absorbed. She transforms into this form, where it's constantly spitting out bubbles like the Bubbles, Disney and companies like that would have characters like burp out, when they're drunk. Fun fact, the pink circle is actually baked into this image, so I don't have to draw that, which is kind of funny. Its eyes, or her eyes, are now just dazed and looking everywhere, because she's drunk. And while in this form, she has less speed and just a small bit less strength, she does gain 2 new abilities called Wild Lightning and Drunk Bubbles. Now, Wild Lightning is kind of just what it says on the tin. She sits in there. When you activate it, she just spits lightning in all different directions, hitting several different opponents. Because why not? Then Drunk Bubbles, basically you spit out some bubbles, go figure, and when they make contact with enemies, they will start randomly swinging around out of confusion and hitting other enemies. That's about all, so guess we'll move on to the next one, being Fog Butterfly. When absorbing fog, go fucking figure, she becomes this form with her missing an arm and her big arm being almost like it's fading away because fog. So, yeah, I thought it would make sense if this thing has less, I guess, overall mass. It looks thinner, I guess, not as ready for physical combat as original Butterfly because it's fog. What's fog do? It's built supposed to be almost like a Victorian ghost with like the dress and the hair covering the face, and it's curved almost like how fog rolls in cartoons. You know how it kind of curves around stuff and then closes around it. I don't know how much of my talking my mic picked up, or whatever. Hair covering the face because fog, mysterious, and some of her eyes are arranged in a way that's like the glowing eyes you see in bushes in like cartoons and stuff. Now, again, less defense and less strength because it's much thinner, I guess. Doesn't really have as much defensive or offensive potential, but it does get a significant bit faster and gains 2 new abilities. Again, invisibility is kind of just what it says on the tin. You can turn invisible and the enemies will only notice you if you attack them. This then leads into our invisibility then leads into our next ability, Freak Out, where she will just appear out of nowhere after being invisible for a little bit and freak out the enemies. Going into this next one, just letting you all know, the other forms of Butterfly do keep all of her original abilities, except the lightning aura that she can surround herself with. You know, the one where if you attack, if the enemies attack her, then they get stunned, and they wouldn't have her rocket fist. Except for this one, because this one is Mega Butterfly. Now, when Butterfly fuses with another cloud, Fret. It's Fret right now. You don't have to worry about the other cloud specification because you can only fuse with Fret right now. So this is kind of like, it's kind of like a nice little boost you can get in the beginning of the, like as you're beginning the stage. It's bigger Butterfly, basically, more cloud, meaning her all of her limbs get bigger, including her tail, and her left fist just gets huge. She's got a proper face now because fused with another cloud, more eyes, and a little eye on her chest to reference Fred, whose primary eye is on his chest. Now, with the others, it was like, oh, they gain new abilities, oh, the stats are affected. This is kind of just Butterfly, but more. She can't, if you haven't locked this ability, you can't use it in the where her arm, where her non-dominant arm breaks apart and shoots electricity between her and her enemies. You can't access that, but you do get 2 extra fist attacks. Unfortunately, the second one will be less powerful because it's a smaller fist, but you know, it's still there. This form, at the beginning of the game, this form does have the unfortunate drawback of her not being able to unfuse out of it, because why would she just abandon Fred in the middle of a war ground while she fucks off to go do something else in a new form? But that ability, that's kind of that drawback is taken away later on in the game, but whatever, we'll get to that when we get to that. And now, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for! The mini-boss of the area! What the fuck? I'm not gonna do cringy music. Well, would you look at that? It seems the rain's been pretty good for the local worm population. And look, this one's even got a hat. It's like the little general. Now, if you will turn over to this part of the page, you will see this fucker's got some abilities. Like, when it... Basically, it will squirm around for a second or so you can actually get some hits off, and then it will switch between either one of these. So if it forms a mouth, then it lies down on the ground and opens it wide and it begins to suck, so you better move out of the way unless you want to get sucked. If it switches to the eye, then it will target you and start slamming into the ground. Do not worry, the stage will be bigger than what I'm portraying in the picture. You won't have like a few pixels to move around and dodge this attack. And the final attack, where you will basically burrow into the ground and then suddenly start flying through it backwards in arches, so you better get good at using that float ability. Yes, I've decided off camera that you have the ability to float for a few seconds. It's not that good in combat, but you know, it's kind of just there if you want a breather and to chill out for a sec, kind of like the fog form's invisibility, but whatever. And of course, like any good boss, you expect that it gets stronger once it's lost of its HP, but nope, it just another worm. Well, I said population, didn't I? They share the same health bar, it's just harder because there's more attacks going on. In fact, this is actually the reason why I added the float ability, why I decided to add the float ability, because can't really dodge the arch attack if both arches are kind of overlapping each other's safe zones, I guess, because with the first one, if it's arching, then you can just stand in between the arches, but if there's two of them at once, then you kind of just have to float and time it good. But once you've beaten both of the worms, you can move on to the next area, which we'll see in the next episode of Storm Basin.